understand what that is, understand the consequences of selling it and the consequences of keeping it, and then make those determinations.
What is the number one secret, Ed, to do when your home price, your home property values or quadruples in value in a possibly downward shifting market?
I think you always have to look at long-term planning. That's the first thing. It's not what you have to do right now to protect yourself in this downturn that might happen, like, oh my God, I better sell immediately. But where do you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Understand what that is, understand the consequences of selling it and the consequences of keeping it, and then make those determinations. If you're going to be, delivered an onslaught of millions of dollars instantly, what are your tax consequences? And are you prepared to deal with those? If you held the asset, what are your carrying costs? And are you comfortable with dealing with the maintenance and the carrying costs that it has? So you've got to answer those questions. It's different for everybody, but I think it's just digging down into those answers.
So number one is long-term planning, understanding the big picture of the asset, the long-term consequences of holding on to it, the long-term consequences, short-term consequences of selling with tax consequences. I think that's a good point. You make up carrying costs, right? Because some of these larger properties with rising costs and rising inflation and rising labor costs, it can be really expensive, right? So you want to make sure that you're building a solid long-term plan. Is that a fair summary, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we forget about some of the ongoing maintenance that happens. Like you're going to have to replace the roof every 15 years and plumbing and electrical and things like that. So those are costs. You have property tax. You have a lot of different ongoing. The bigger the estate, the more expense, right? You have landscape costs, water costs, et cetera. That can be cumbersome depending on how big the asset is.
Excellent.